voice and with that. Today we're going to talk about how to get the most from your walk. Okay. There's many things we can cover, but I'm going to cover 5 different areas. One is how to make the most of your surroundings, how to make the most of the muscles and your body, using equipment if you want to, that's the third one. Adding exercises into your walk if you want to. And finally, mindfulness. So we're going to touch on each of these and just go through each one in turn. So the first one, using your surroundings. When you're out on a walk, there's different ways to sort of up the pace and the effort. One way is to use a timer. Could be on your watch, could be a bleeper on your phone. You could just think, right, that's about enough period. Don't over technicalize it. I don't know if that's a word, just made it up. Just use a bit of a timer. So maybe you're going to walk a little bit harder for 30 seconds or a minute, and then you're going to ease off for a short period. So you're going to alternate between working harder and easier. 30 seconds on, 30 second rest, and then you can build it up to 1 minute. Okay, working hard, 30 seconds rest, etc. The other way, which is probably more of my favorite, is using your surroundings literally. Okay, so you might find on your walk there's telegraph poles. So you will choose to go fast between one telegraph pole and the next, and then ease off. Okay, so you might do that between your telegraph poles for your walk. And then next time you go out, you might decide that actually I'm going to go fast between 2 telegraph poles or 2 trees or between here and the gate. It actually makes you look around at your surroundings and see what's there, and gets you to work that little bit harder in an interval training way. Okay. Different ways of using your surroundings as well is to use your hills. So find a walk that has some hills. So obviously, as you go up a hill, your heart rate comes up, and then you might go for a plateau, and then you can relax coming down again. So it's making use of what's around where you live, especially at the time, because you're walking from where you live. So that's using your surroundings. The other one is making the most from your muscles as you walk. Okay, so I'm going to stand up, head over towards the fence, and look for a few different ways. Okay, hopefully you can see all of me over here. Okay, so as you're walking along, I would like you to focus on what your ankles and feet are doing. So as you're going along, I want you to push off from your balls of your feet and push you forward. Okay, lots of people just work with your big muscles. So it's here, these muscles working. But to get a little bit more from your walk, push off from your feet, use those ankles, use those lower legs. Okay, so I'll do that again. So you're pushing off. It's like you're starting, if you're picturing someone starting on a race, they'd push off. So that's what you're doing. You're not going up and down, you're pushing forward, going through. Okay, my technique for walking is more of a push technique. Quite a few people, so that's pushing off and landing with your foot roughly underneath. Lots of people do long strides and are quite a pull. So have a think as you're walking, what technique do you go? Is it a push off, or is it quite a pull with it all? Okay, so that's looking at your lower legs. Okay, then you've got your hips. Okay, so I'll turn and face this direction. On your walk, you can keep them quite rigid. Okay, it's not working as many muscles, and your body is meant to move. It's quite fluid. Okay, so what I try and get you to do is when you're walking, okay, think that you're not quite like that. Try that again. Okay, is allow your hips to move. So as you put your foot on the ground, you're pushing down with that hip. Okay, I don't know if you can see that without me looking like I'm doing some sort of model walk. So you're pushing down each time with each hip. Some people think of it like they're rolling round. Your hips are moving either forwards or backwards, or you could just think that they go up and down. Okay, so that's your hips. Okay, moving up to your arms. Again, you can keep them nice and still and rigid, and if you're holding a dog, you might have to keep it out to the side anyway. Okay, but to again work more muscles throughout your body, okay, allow your arms to swing. Okay, so swinging from the shoulders, be aware of shoulders back and down, don't be rigid with it. Swing those arms, works bigger muscles, okay, and gets a little bit more. If you want to go faster, little technique, make your arms go a little bit faster. So yeah, it's very rare that your legs and arms will go at a different speed. Some people it will. Okay, so if you want to walk a bit faster, focus on taking your arms a bit faster. That's a technique with jogging as well. So that was a little bit of a sort of run through the muscles that you can use when you're walking. Okay, I am a Nordic walking instructor, so I will bring it using poles. If you don't have Nordic poles, do not worry. Okay, use whatever poles that you've got. Try and have them quite long to get the most of it. There's lots of things that these poles have as Nordic poles, but what I'm trying to get across here is the technique. Okay, so use whatever you've got. If you want to buy some, okay, I don't sell them, but there's shops online, and there's also another Nordic walking instructor here in Cumbria, Nick's Nordic Walks. So look her up, get in touch, see if she can get you some poles. But use what you've got if you want to. Okay, I'm not going to put them on properly because I'm going to assume you have just poles that you have to hold on to. There are straps on these poles, but I'm not going through Nordic walking. Okay, so if you do have some poles, you can make the most of your walk even more by working your upper body a bit more. And I'm just going to roughly show you a technique to use poles. Don't have them in front, have them behind, okay? So the technique you're sort of looking for, and do look online for any technique or get in touch with an instructor, okay? So opposite arm, opposite leg, pushing through, okay? So usually I'd have a really light grip because I'd be using the poles correctly, okay? But you're using whatever you've got, okay? So push through. Nice. So it's a similar movement to what we've just looked from. You're rolling through those feet, you're swinging your arms. But with this, because you're pushing into the poles, you're engaging more muscles. Okay, you're working your upper body a bit more, taking the workload off your legs. So burning more calories, okay, and you tend to go quite a lot faster. Good for balance as well. So you're pushing back and going forward. So grab your poles and have a little go, okay? You might start by dragging, and there's, like I say, I'm not going to go through technique for building up Nordic walking, okay? There's different ways, and do get in touch with me if you want to know a little bit more, email or give me a call. Okay, so that little bit of using poles, but just literally touching on there. Okay, another thing to cover is doing some exercises. So when you're out, you might choose to make even more from your walk by spotting a bench. If you see a bench, you could do tricep dips. Hopefully people know what tricep dips are, like this. Okay, imagine I'm sat on the bench. Okay, I'm not just doing it in the air. That'd be really silly. Okay, tricep dips. You could do press ups. Okay, you can do sit ups, leaning back, coming up. Okay, so that's benches, fences, similar thing. You could actually, I'll do it over, we've got a fence here. Okay, you can do press ups. The hands on the fence, okay, lean forward and push back. Okay, you can also do pulls. So you lean back and pull with those arms. I don't know if you can see, I'm on a bit of a bad angle. So you lean back and pull back in. Okay, so there are a couple of things you can do on the bench. On the ground, pretty much any exercise you know that you do on the ground in the house, you can do out and about. So on your walk, take that time. If you want to move a bit more, make it into an interval training session. The last one to cover with this is, you know what? You might think I've made this really complicated. You have to look at the trees. You have to focus on your ankles and your feet. Use equipment if you've got it that you've never done before. Okay, start doing sit-ups and press-ups and benches. You know what? You don't always have to do that. You can just use your walk to switch off. Yeah. Listen to the birds. Be aware of how you feel. Are you holding tension in your shoulders? You need to relax them off. Is one side different to the other? I'm sure no one's quite like that going around. Be aware of what's growing around you. Be aware of the nature, things that are changing in buildings, in gardens. Enjoy that time just to switch off and let your mind take in all the information from around. So some people use music headsets. I personally walk without. I like to just be with nature, but it depends what works for you. So use that time just to breathe. Yeah. Get away from technology. Put your phone away. You can take it with you, but don't look at it on the way around. Enjoy that time. So we've covered a bit of using surroundings. We've covered a bit of using your muscles, using equipment, training outside on your walk, and just being mindful. If you do have any questions, do drop me an email or give me a call. The email is debbie@get-active.co.uk. Enjoy the sunshine and get out walking. Enjoy.